We've already created a bar chart showing the total number of men and women in the data set. Now let's show a bar chart that shows the average salary of each. For this, we're going to need a custom reducer, and we've covered that in a previous lesson on dimensional charting. We start off in the normal way by creating a div and giving it an ID so that we have somewhere to plot our chart. So we'll call this average salary. And then the rest of the work will be done in graph.js. We'll call a function for plotting the chart. And as usual, the function doesn't exist yet, so we're deciding on the name here, but we know it'll take ndx as its only argument. Now we come down here and create the new function. The dimension for this bar chart is going to be the gender column or the sex column, but the group needs to be created using a custom reducer that will calculate the average salary for men and for women. So for dimension, we pluck the sex column. And for group, we will call the reduce function. We need to pass the reduce function three functions which you've seen before: an initializer, and a function for adding data items, and a function for removing data items. In the previous lesson, you would have seen these passed in as anonymous functions. I'm going to do it slightly differently here, and I'm going to code each of the functions outside of the call to reduce and then pass them in. The add item, if you recall, takes two arguments, p and v. P is an accumulator that keeps track of the total, the count, and the average, and v represents each of the data items that we're adding or removing. The remove item has the same signature as the add. The initialize function creates an initial value for p, and it doesn't take any arguments. So we pass each of those functions into reduce. And then we code them like you saw in the previous lesson on custom reducers. We'll start with the initialize. It needs to keep track of count, total, and average. And we start with all of those as 0. Add item is also pretty straightforward. If we add a new item, we want to increment the count in our P object. We increment our total by the salary of the data item that we're looking at. And the average is simply the total divided by the count. And we must return P. If you forget to do that, you'll get errors. So make sure you remember to return P at the end of the add and remove functions. The remove is also fairly straightforward, a little bit trickier. We reduce the count, and we also reduce the total by the amount of the salary, and we calculate the average in the same way. The issue here is that the count may be 0 if we've removed the last item, and that means calculating the average will give a divide by 0 error. So we're going to put in an if statement here to avoid that. When the count is 0, we're just going to set the total and average to 0. And in all other cases where the count is greater than 0, we can use the normal calculations. So now our average salary by gender group has been created. And you can use the console here to output the average salary by gender. I'll leave that as a challenge for you.